Hey Griffins, welcome to the second episode of our show.
I'm Tara Gray.
And I'm Jocelyn Pritchard.
And the legend starts now.
Here's some things that you might have missed.
The U.S. Senate has been engaging in confirmation hearings regarding new Supreme Court Justice nominee Amy Coney Barrett to make sure that she's fit for her role.
Billie Eilish has announced that she's doing a virtual concert live stream on October 24th in lieu of her canceled world tour.
And our very own Sickles student, Valerie Musicat, has teamed up with School Board Vice Chair Steve Kona to launch a Mental Health Matters campaign. Thank you, Valerie, for your hard work.
Speaking of mental health, e-learning has been a choice that many students have opted for several reasons. Here's Jillian Horowitz on how this huge transition has affected people's mental health.
With COVID cases on the rise, many students have opted for e-learning to keep themselves and their families at a lower risk. Without the normally present social interaction and school environment, what toll has this new way of learning taken on students' mental health?
So I guess the main reason I chose online school was because of safety reasons. I work at a retirement home, and obviously cases are continuing to rise, so I decided it was the best for me to stay online. So in these conditions, I think no, my mental health would probably be worse just because I'm worrying about stuff more often, as far as like, oh, do the people around me, are they being safe? Do they have COVID? Do I have COVID? Am I infecting other people?
Ever since I switched to online school, I definitely can notice a difference in my academic performance just by before I would be like a C student, borderline D. Now online school, like from what I've noticed, I'm an A student. Like my grades have improved like significantly. My mental health has actually been like so much better ever since I've started doing online school, just because at least like junior years, like it was such a stressful time for everyone, especially for someone like me that has social anxiety. I feel like being at home gives me that freedom to like feel more safe.
Mental health is just as important as physical health. Especially in today's world, be sure to take time out of your life to care for your mind. For The Legend, I'm Jillian Horowitz.
Thank you, Jillian. It's a lot easier than you may think to start your own small business. Even with the pandemic, many Sickles students have been able to do so successfully. Jocelyn, you have the story.
Most students have a hobby that they enjoy doing for themselves. However, Sickles senior Nordis Fuentes has taken her love of crochet to the next level and has opened a small business where anyone can purchase her creations.
I started crocheting back in 6th grade because one of our teachers, she would do this before school. If you got there early, she had a club, and so I joined, and so I really enjoyed it. Friends and family encouraged me to do a small business.
Fuentes has, however, faced challenges running her business while in quarantine.
So I do e-learning. So I pretty much do all my schoolwork throughout the day, and then if I don't have homework or after I'm done with homework, I try to do as much as I can after school. If not, I try to do it over the weekends. With school going on, I have 3 AP classes, a dual enrollment class. So it just takes a lot of time, and then making the things I make also are very time consuming.
Luckily, Nordis has received support from Sickles students as they were her first customers.
If I have time, I definitely plan to continue it. Obviously, when I start college, I'll probably be focusing more on that, but just like I do now, I make time for it, or when I have time on my spare time. It's something I like to do, and I can do it and also make some extra cash. Obviously, at first, when I began it, I only had the one option of the shirt I was currently making. Then I started to when I had downtime and didn't have any orders, I would find something new to make. Maybe ask my little sister, hey, what do you feel like? What do you like? And then she'll tell me something, and I'm like, okay, I'll try to make it. So I find a pattern for it. Recently, I've been taking more requests. That way I can have more options. I like taking requests because forces me to make something new.
Even though many are still stuck at home, that doesn't stop students like Nordiz from doing something productive and new. If you're interested in her creations, her Instagram shop is at Nordiz Creations. For The Legend, I'm Jocelyn Pritchard.
Civil rights activists all over the world are fighting for equality. Right now, there's a unique battle happening in Poland, sparking demonstrations of acceptance of the LGBT community. Zoe Boone has the story.
The community faces increasing trouble in Poland. A 2020 survey done by ILGA has deemed Poland one of the worst countries for LGBT discrimination in Europe, ranking 42nd out of 49. A variety of cultural and political factors has led to this dismal rating. The right-wing Law and Justice Party currently has a president in Polish office, Andrzej Duda. Jarosław Kaczynski, one of the party's leaders, stated their position clearly. The affirmation of homosexuality will lead to the downfall of civilization. We can't agree to it. Duda is no different, in adding to the Polish constitution that same-sex couples are prohibited from adopting children. Emboldened by the past 5 years of Duda's presidency, a third of Poland's municipalities have deemed themselves LGBT-free zones. These zones, though not enforced by law, are openly hostile to the LGBT community. However, this is not an exclusively Polish issue. Though their leaders may not be openly and profoundly homophobic, Bulgarians, Romanians, Croats, Lithuanians, Hungarians, and French queer communities, along with Polish queer people, all avoid certain locations for fear they would be assaulted or harassed. And gay men still are not allowed to donate blood in the U.S. Homophobia is still an extremely prominent issue and will become worse if not opposed. Johanna Sigurðardóttir, the first openly gay head of state in Iceland, puts it best. It is absolutely imperative that every human being's freedom and human rights are respected all over the world. For The Legend, I'm Zoe Boone.
Many companies have been affected differently due to COVID, but the big question, especially from our cinema kids, is how it's affected the movie industry. Luckily, Liliana Graham is here to clear things up.
Many companies have been impacted thanks to COVID, but how well does an entire industry hold up when it's so heavily reliant on people gathering relatively closely in one room? The movie industry has been impacted significantly because of COVID-19. Let's go back to the source and see where this problem started. When the virus first hit, movies like Pixar's Onward made almost no money compared to their previous movies. For example, Onward made $144.9 million grossing, while Toy Story 4 made $1.073 billion. It was a financial failure. Companies knew they had to take action. This is where Trolls World Tour comes in, which, instead of releasing in theaters, went on demand. This movie was very successful, having the biggest streaming debut of any movie prior. However, many other movies, such as Scoob, did not fare well with the same treatment. Hollywood saw Trolls World Tour as a fluke and decided they couldn't risk putting all these movies on streaming, especially after the failure of Mulan, which went on to both streaming services and theaters. Movies like Black Widow, No Time to Die, and Wonder Woman 89, all set to release weeks in between each other right before the lockdown, are now set to release almost a full year after their initial release date. This situation is not very good for the movie industry. In fact, according to CNN, big theaters like AMC are struggling to keep themselves sustainable and will most likely close before the end of the year. The movie industry is in shambles. Will streaming save it, or will we just have to wait until things go back to normal? This is Liliana Graham from The Legend, signing off.
Thanks, Lily. Here's some things to keep an eye out for next week.
As of September 18th, the hurricane name list officially switched to using the Greek alphabet for the first time since 2005. There will be many new names to look forward to, including Alpha and Delta.
The documentary Totally Under Control will be making its long-awaited appearance on Hulu on October 20th, after being filmed in secret for 5 months. This documentary aimed to expose what was really going on to control the pandemic within the White House.
And both our golf and volleyball teams qualified for districts. We're very proud of our athletes.
That's all we've got for today, Griffins.
As always, have a great day and make good choices.